Well, that was weird. Okay, looks like we're reconnected again. Hello, this is Lumination. I don't know what just happened, but everything was working great over here, and then the show just got shut down. I didn't shut it down. The stream was running perfectly, all the music, the software, the broadcast systems, the microphones, the lighting, the camera. Maybe it's because I didn't do a blessing at the beginning of the show. It's like somebody just pulled the plug on it. The internet did not crash. Nothing like that happened. I think it was malicious intent somehow or other. Anyway, we're back. So, oh, hello. I see the chat now. It's coming back up. Hello. Oh, and okay, now things are all freezing up again. What the hell's going on? Okay. Robin. Okay. So. Okay, so I can see you. Hello, Robin. Hello, Karen, over there in New Zealand. Hello, Delicia. Can you remind us where you are again, Delicia? Because I think you're in the United States, correct? Hello, Journey Seeker. I know you've been here before. Hello, Jennifer Johnson. Please tell us more. I can't remember if you've been here before, if I've done a reading or not. I tend to be quite absent-minded. Journey Seeker. Looks like you're having a double whiskey on ice. Okay, so Robin, I don't know what happened, but I was just going along with the show. We just finished for Necessary Truth. I was getting set up so I could read for you. We just played a little song called I Am Healing. And then I saw a light go on here on the screen that tells me that the show had ended. But I didn't do any of that. Anyway, it's very inconvenient. I'm sorry. I apologize. Yeah, it was probably a ghost in the machine. Yeah. Thank you, Journey Seeker. Alright, so anyway, we're here. I've managed to reconnect everything. And we're back. So let me get on with your reading, okay, Robin? You know, there's a part of me, of course, which feels like, you know, because I'm a little bit paranoid these days with my channel, because it's like my channel has been heavily throttled backwards. and there's nothing I can do about it, so I just live with what remains. So, yeah, so this is what we're dealing with, and I was very lucky at one point. I felt I was so incredibly lucky to be, invited to all these special events at the Google YouTube headquarters over in Los Angeles, and I felt really special until I started to realize what's actually going on. And as much as I love, it's like this platform is so incredible that we can do this at all. But the problem is that it belongs to this, like, part of this global agenda for things to be a certain way that really doesn't comply with me. I like things like truth and honesty, transparency, and freedom of speech. And my channel was heavily demonetized and, let's say, punished for being forthright in what I do. And I was accused of being extremely evil, and of course that's not true. But anyway, I was assumed guilty until proven innocent, and I did my best to prove my innocence, but nobody was listening, and so here we are today. This is how things are. I feel that every time I do a show, there's some kind of piece of artificial intelligence or an algorithm or maybe even a human intervention where, like, if I cross a certain line, they just press a button to piss me off or to shut things down or to trigger censorship. Hey, okay, I just see the notes there on the screen. I'm going to stop whining and moaning and groaning. Hi, I am new. Hello, Jennifer Johnson. Greetings. Fresh out of the box. Yo. Wow, you are literally brand new. Welcome. Looks like you're a practical joker. Yeah. So, yeah, hello, Jennifer. Thank you for hanging out. I don't know, there are quite a few people who come here seem to have certain, like, extraordinary skills like extrasensory perception or remote healing or remote viewing or tarot reading or astrology or, the astral projection, or they're very spiritually inclined and they see angels and they have angels in their life and so on. So that would be perfectly normal here. So my guess is that Jennifer Johnson, since nothing is a coincidence, you must be like one of those folks. You might be an angel without even knowing it. You might already have a set of wings without even knowing it. Or maybe you do. It says here, Jennifer loves playing with you. Okay, so if you're a practical joker, and that's how you create fun and humor, that's fine. Yeah. All right, anyway, so let's get on with the show. We got to read for Robin now. Thanks for your patience, Robin. That was a kind of a strange experience just now with being shut down. I guarantee I did not shut this down, okay? Everything was streaming very nicely here. The internet was good and clear and strong. Who knows? Anyway, let's bless the cameras, bless all the sounds and the microphones and the lighting, bless this deck, bless every single card, bless the post-it notes, bless the electricity and the lighting and the microphones and the softwares and the platform itself, the internet, all of it. Let's bless all of it, because that's how we do this. We can't do it without that. Okay. Journey, wow, your phone shut off. Weird, huh? Totally weird. Weird. Huh? Oh. Oh, that is weird, Jeffrey. Very strange. BTE. What does that mean, Robin? No weapon formed against us will prosper. Yay. I like that idea. That's very strange, Jeffrey. I'm sorry, that's very strange. I don't have any explanation. Journey Seeker, I don't have any explanation why your phone might have shut off. Remember, we just had a massive direct CME, coronal mass ejection, like a solar flare, a few days ago, and it takes a while to hit the Earth. The sun is about, whatever it is, 250 million miles away or something, so it takes a while to get here. But those, solar flares can really cause havoc on the global telecommunications systems. So who knows? Maybe that's what it was. All right, Robin, I know you wanted to get some kind of psychic message. Whatever comes up is whatever comes up, okay? Now, if you want to give me a second, I am going to... How much do we do? Hey, Jennifer, most people put in like 5, 10, 15, 20, that kind of number. Message sent, old family photo from Mum. Huh. That's weird. That's so strange. And then Jeffrey saying that this show was shut down and then he was reissued an old show from a month ago. I'm sorry, that's really strange. Okay. Oh, Karen Clark, thank you for the reminder. Okay, let me get back into the zone again. Yeah, thank you, Karen. So I'll be there in just a minute, Robin. I also need to get a refill on my beverage. But yeah, so after I had all the surgery and the doctors going on with the cancer and everything, they gave me 9 months to 2 years to live after the surgery, because my cancer was really bad. But here I am. Anyway, I know for a fact that I had radical, spontaneous, remote energy healing from angelic beings from the great beyond who came in deep into my world, into my life. And I'm trying to write this book about it. That's my email, a little book about the healing power of love. I just haven't finished it yet, but maybe I will. I really need to finish it, okay? So in this alternative healing environment, it was basically a very advanced yoga center in Los Angeles that used to be based in New York. And it was very unusual compared to most yoga centers because the leader of the yoga center was an very advanced energy healer himself, and he shared this practice with aspiring yoga energy healers. And so the whole place was filled up with the healing power of love, and I was a recipient. And so I got a lot of healing that most people wouldn't get. I just was very, very lucky. Some dear friends spotted me to become like a member, so I could go in and get a lot of the classes where I went to were free, but some of them were expensive and paid. But some people raised a lot of money on my behalf so that I could continue to receive the healing. So I was very grateful. Hello, Heather. I see you. Cheers. Okay, so give me a second, folks. I really, really need a refill. Okay, so if you want to bear with me, I'll be back in a few moments. Okay? go. All right, so let's just check in. Where are we here? Oh yeah, sorry, hold on. There you go. Okay, Journey Seeker, you do yoga. It unsubbed you. That's weird. I don't know what's going on, okay? Telecommunications. Yeah, I was very, very lucky. I don't do a lot of yoga anymore right now. I don't do a lot of my extreme, ultra self-healing practices because I've gone through a lot of healing and I'm enjoying keeping things very simple where what I really try to do is get good sleep, good rest, good diet, plenty of clear, fresh water, good exercise, good company, and good activities. And then from there, I just pray that everything works out, because all I'm trying to do is plant seeds of love so that it's just a constant flow. In other words, it's all about energy management. You have to you have to understand that you are. It's almost like you are creating your own weather, and even though we are impacted by external influences, obviously we are, but we still have a whole world in here that is ours and ours alone. That is our sovereign self, is being very deeply damaged, and that's for the whole of humanity. The sovereign self, the sovereign soul, is in deep pain and deep suffering for the whole of humanity, and that has to be healed. And so you've got to reveal it to heal it. So I feel that what's happening right now with humanity, that humanity is being exposed to how evil humanity is to itself. And we have to learn how to grow out of this joint responsibility for humanity. All right. All right, Robin. Okay, I'll just put this aside. Let's get your reading. So you just wanted some psychic messages. I said just wanted, but let's just say that's what you wanted. Let's see what's going on. Cards are already well shuffled. Hey, Jeffrey, about being unsubbed. The way the artificial intelligence works with my channel now, and the provider of the channel, which is Google, which owns Youtube, what they've done is they've switched an algorithm which strips out my subscribers in a very systematic, mathematical way. Roughly 40 to 50 subscribers per month are removed from the channel as part of the algorithm. That's how it works now. Well, they call it death by 1,000 paper clips. Sorry, death by 1,000 paper cuts. Here you go, Journey Seeker. Cheers. This happens to be red wine, but I do enjoy a good beer. My favorite beer right now is something called Steamship IPA, and it is from Trader Joe, and it's $4.99 for a 6-pack. It's incredibly good, and it's incredibly good value. And guess what? Guess what, Journey Seeker? In case you're interested in alcoholic beverages, like I am, this particular beer, I don't know if you have a Trader Joe's grocery store near you, but this particular beer is freaking awesome. It's almost like a high-quality Belgian ale. It is thick. It is an IPA. That's an India Pale Ale. And it has about an 8.2% alcohol, which is double your average beer. I don't know how they do it for $4.99 a 6-pack. I just don't know how they do it, but it is. I just wanted to share that with you. I'd be happy to share other tips with you about groceries, especially from Trader Joe. I'm not being sponsored to say that, by the way. Gregory, you're still in your meeting. Don't worry, we're going to come to you. I'm going to do your reading later. I saw it came in on the emails. Thank you very much. Okay, let's finally get on with Robin and your reading. Let's get Robin's realm, her reading. Cards are already shuffled, as you know, but I'm going to go again to the last second so that everyone's a witness. Journey Seeker, I'm glad you understand. I'm not kidding. That is serious. I'm serious, Journey Seeker. If you like your beer, I can see it from your little icons. You'd like to have a little beer. Beer is good for you, in moderation, of course. All right, here we go, Robin. Let's see what's happening. I hope you're not too stressed out. I don't know. If you're in line? Are you in line for the Hurricane Ida? It's coming up through Texas, or a little bit. It'll probably go to the east of you, but just beware. Okay. Okay, we are cut. We're ready to go. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges, and here's how we're going to handle it. And let's have a look at the external influences for you. So we've got Justice card here, and this is a major arcana, of course. Okay, so it's like you can't mess with this. It's almost like Journey Seeker. No, you hate beer. Okay, I'm sorry about that, but. Your little clinking of the beer glasses there kind of gave me that, inspired me for that storyline I was just telling you. Okay, so no worries. But I'd be happy to talk about red wine or white wine or whiskey with you another time. Okay, Robin, so we've got the Justice card here. So I don't think you're going to like this the way I'm seeing it, but I'm using one of my bumper stickers again. Everything is exactly as it should be. Why? How? Well, it's because it can't be any other way. Things are the way they are. Whether you like it or not is a whole other thing. And so when I see this Justice card here, to me it feels like whatever's going on out here in our solar system, and however it is affecting you, it is affecting everyone else. The question is, how do you respond to this energy? If you react to this energy from fear or anger or resentment or pressure or, let's say, like an unwillingness to accept, like the truth, sacred geometry, to accept the reality of the world, all that happens is you experience pain. On the other hand, when you look at this and you realize, wow, okay, there's a lot of pain. It's for everyone. It's not personal. Pain, 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 pain. But we're going to be okay because we are supported. We have these sweet trines and sextiles. Thank you very much. And so, how do I make this personal for you, Robin? In other words, with the Justice, think of this as an extremely neutral energy. I would say it's like a coalescence of all the retrogrades. Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto right now, and how are they impacting you? Because it's really, really hard to deal with. It's really hard for most people even just to deal with Mercury retrograde. But just imagine Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto all retrograding simultaneously. How the bleep do you handle that? So the way you handle it is through pure acceptance. And so with the Justice card here, my feeling is it's a very simple, very neutral message from God, your maker, from heaven, your angels, to please, Robin, please understand that the way things are in your life, in your world right now, are absolutely perfect. Everything is perfectly balanced according to universal justice, universal law, universal truth, okay? Whatever is really bad or really, really, really bad, that is in accordance with the laws of the universe. Whatever is happening that's good for you, that too is in accordance with the laws of the universe, okay? Look at that. Look what Robin just wrote there. Look, interesting facts. I have a north node in Sagittarius and south node in Gemini. And you're having neck surgery on Wednesday. Okay, so that's interesting. Okay, so you see this T-square here, Robin? We talked about this earlier. This is the big T-square going on. This is the nodal axis, Sagittarius, Gemini, and it's in a hard T-square with the Sun in Virgo, right here. Sun in Virgo is in a hard T-square. 90-degree angle, 90-degree angle between the Sagittarius South Node and the Gemini North Node. Now, since Robin is confiding to us that she has South Node in Gemini and her own North Node in Sagittarius, this axis here is super stressful for her. In other words, this Virgo energy here is putting a lot of pressure on the nodal axis for Robin, because it's the same axis but just reversed, okay? Today, right now, we have South Node Sagittarius, North Node Gemini, okay? For Robin, it's exactly the opposite. South Node Gemini, North Node Sagittarius. But it's still the same T-square. So this T-square, along with Mars and Virgo, it's a lot of pressure to, I would say, like, clean up your act, clean up your life, do whatever you have to do what has to be done to bring things in harmony and balance again. Now, this might sound really, so Robin's also got Virgo rising. Okay, so we can actually put the chart as though it's personal now. Let's put the Virgo rising over here. See, here's the axis. Okay, so I don't know if you can see this properly, but I'll try. Okay, so this is the Virgo Pisces axis, okay? So Robin says she's got Virgo rising, okay? So the Sun is crossing her ascendant and her first house of self-image, selfhood right now. And it's in a hard square with her own natural Gemini, Sagittarius nodal axis. So that's a very stressful angle. Now, look at Mars in Virgo. In some astrology, you can associate Mars with surgery, the knife, the weapon, okay? So, if you are having, because you're having surgery, to me, again, it feels like this is everything is exactly as it should be. In other words, you're having neck surgery because you need neck surgery. And you're having, it's a very stressful event, circumstance, chapter in your life. And again, see how I love to blame it on the planets? Can you understand why I do that all the time? You're not as stressed at all. It's because you're dealing with it extremely well. You've obviously been planning. Where's the Virgo axis? September, October, Virgo, Pisces, okay. Where is it? Damn, okay. Sorry, hold on. Alright, there we go. Oh, I can't seem to lock the pen in. Okay. So you can see it from here. Okay, this is the big T square. Well, I guess you could do it slightly more like this. Let's do it like this. See, there's the T. And we're putting Robin's Virgo Ascendant on the horizon right here. So in other words, everything is exactly as it should be. And because you've said that you're not stressed at all, that is very, very good news. That probably, to me, that indicates that the surgery is literally just an act of self-love. You're getting the surgery because you need it, and it's a good thing. Okay? Now, what's the situation itself? However, okay, so this is kind of where I get back into the reading itself from my perspective. When you get neck surgery, if it's because of some external influence like a really bad car crash or something, or whether it's because of stress or some kind of inherited bone situation where the neck or the spine is distorted and it needs to be healed through surgery, then that's fine. But with the Nine of Swords here, to me it feels like we're at a point where you have to realize and understand that, and this, I'm not here to judge, okay, Robin, I'm just trying to give you the psychic message reading, is that it's important to understand that this is a very high stress situation, and sometimes when I see the Nine of Wands, I see it as a war or a battle or a situation or a high pressure situation that we have to admit in some way partially that we brought it upon ourselves. And so it requires understanding that if there is conflict, stress, or pain in your life, it isn't just all external. You are part of the equation. You know, you are very as much part of life as the external part of life is a component to you. They're happening simultaneously. And so my feeling is that the psychic message here, the situation is that in some ways, whether you like it or know it or not, you might have brought upon the circumstances or the stress or the conditions that led you to have to seek out neck surgery. You know, some people, the pains in our life are always looking for a place to hide or store themselves, okay? So, Robin says, for example, lifting wrong. Okay. So I'm very familiar with these kind of things. In some ways, I had a very self-destructive life, thinking that I was being helpful and meaningful. But I actually destroyed my spine and my body. I've had major spinal surgery. And I've survived, and I live to tell the tale. So in your situation, the point that I was trying to get at with the Nine of Wands here is that you have to understand that you are part of the equation of pain. In other words, if the neck surgery is a consequence of, like you say, lifting wrong, and now you're at this point where, like, oh, I'm going to have to deal with it. The only option is neck surgery. Otherwise, you have to live like with a chronic, crippling consequence of lifting wrong, which could be, you know, nerve pain, nerve damage forever. And so, I guess, so at this point in the reading, we've only pulled 2 cards, but going back to the Justice card, to me it looks like everything's perfect. In other words, you understand the full spectrum of your life, your world, your situation. In other words, let's reverse engineer it. If you had known how to lift everything and move your body correctly to the point where you don't need surgery, but you could still live an active life, then you would not be having neck surgery right now. But how many people do you know who are born and raised from childhood on how do you lift things properly? How do you understand that it's very easy for you to create your own demise? Okay, and another thing, look at that on the screen, everybody. Robin is saying, I know, I'm a Reiki master. And sometimes a zealous fool. True story. Okay, so even the best of... Okay, here's another thing about healers. Okay, Robin? Because if you're a Reiki master, by definition, you're involved in the healing arts, alternative healing arts, okay? Give me a second here. You know, there's sometimes there's someone who comes here, Tina Miller. A lot of you know Tina. She's like a compulsive compassion junkie. She can't help herself. She's a professional nurse, and now she's going into the world of search and rescue with her beautiful dog. And people who are natural born healers, and that's what they want to do, they want to be loving, they just want to share the healing power of love, sometimes they end up going through the worst things themselves. Like for yourself here, Robin, you're a Reiki master, and yet here you are having neck surgery for something that you didn't know about before you became a Reiki master. But the beautiful thing is that it's probably like this is not any kind of news to you. You're already aware that you are at the very epicenter of your life, and all the good things that happen, great, but all the things that are bad that happen, you're still part of the equation, including if it means not knowing how to lift things properly, and then you end up destroying your neck and needing surgery. All right, so what's the challenge here? Okay, so I've got the Five of Wands. So to me it feels like the challenge is treating the whole experience as a learning experience from which you can grow. In other words, it would be so easy for you, Robin, to just slip into a world of self-pity and woe is me, and to take yourself away from being a Reiki master, for example, and offering your healing services to others, and basically saying, I give up, I can't do this anymore. It's too much work, it's too much pressure, and I'm just going to live a life of ease and relaxation because of my neck surgery, and I'm going to use my neck surgery as an excuse not to go back into the active workplace, the active work environment, the place where I will be continued to be challenged in the future. Okay? So, in other words, it would be so tempting. It's almost like I'm looking for a way to get out of being a compassion junkie. I'm looking for a way to get out of being a Reiki master by compulsion, where I heal others by default because I can't help myself, and so on. Like, it would be so nice to have a break where it's time for me, Robin, to enjoy what it's like to be healed. Instead of being healing, you are being healed. I am healing, I am healed. I am healing, I am healed. You're being healed. So the challenge is, I guess it's like, no quitters here. Everything is energy. Well done, Robin. But it is a challenge, okay? It's very, very important to understand that this situation is actually here to help you improve your life, to better your life. And it might not sound like that because nobody goes to get neck surgery for fun. It's not like something like, somebody wants to go to an amusement park or a restaurant, or to go to a sport event or a pop concert or something for fun and entertainment. Nobody goes to get neck surgery for entertainment purposes. Okay, how are we going to deal with this? So, going back to the Nine of Wands here, when I see the Five of Pentacles, the way to handle it is to to me it feels like be extremely gentle with yourself going forward into this time. I don't know the exact date of your surgery, but if it's pretty soon, please understand that as you go through this and come out the other side, it's very important to remember that in some ways you did bring this upon yourself, and it's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just it's a very, very important lesson. If you look at the little Five of Pentacles here as yourself in relationship with another, or another in relationship with you. Yes, you might have extended yourself for other people, lifting things wrong for other people, or lifting things wrong for yourself. It kind of doesn't matter. So please look at it for yourself, where once you come out of the surgery and life goes on, you understand it is so easy to cripple yourself under the under the misguided belief that you have infinite abilities to help others. I hope that makes sense, Robin. The reason I'm saying that is because there's a big chapter of my life where I felt like I was completely bulletproof. I could do anything. I could do literally anything. And then I broke my back. I literally broke my back in helping others. And I brought that upon myself. Because if I realized then, today, like I realize now, that I have to live within my abilities, then that would never have happened. But it was a very, 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 very long and painful lesson. But I come out the other side. I'm not ruined, and you're not ruined. There's still 5 beautiful pentacles here, okay, Robin? And you've earned that, and you deserve that. And that is part of it. The way I'm seeing this, honestly, Robin, is that you and your relationship with yourself, in that you're going to keep going forward anyway. Yes, you might be, let's say, out of commission for a while, and it would be very appropriate for you to look at yourself and treat yourself as someone who is fragile, someone who has to live within the limits of physical reality, and you can only do what is reasonable and safe for your body and your health. You are no longer allowed to squander your resources, your physical strength, attitudes, beliefs, and expectations to do anything and everything just because your reflex actions tell you that you can do it. If your natural reflex actions are to be a compulsive healer, a compulsive compassionate junkie, then eventually, what do you expect? This is what would happen. Eventually you end up crippling yourself by helping others. And of course, what use is that to anybody? So the way to go forward is understanding that in a very kind of obscure, roundabout way, you ended up crippling yourself, but it's not the end of the world. You are still very valuable going forward, but you have to operate now going forward, understanding that you cannot conduct your life going forward the way that you used to conduct your life before surgery. So please see this surgery as an incredibly important calendar moment in your life. Okay, there's only one way I can explain it, okay? Okay, I'm very glad that you're telling everybody you're very brave and you're calm about all this thing. But seriously, neck surgery is not a joke. It's not something you do for entertainment purposes. So going forward, what this reading is telling me is that the message is that please go forward on the understanding that you have to live within your physical limitations. And you must not go beyond that, simply because it's your natural default setting to just give, give, give. Love, love, love. Heal, heal, heal. like it's a one-way street. That is not a healthy life. It's very important that you are loving and that you are loved. Be loving and be loved. Be loving and be loved. Some people, like compassion junkies, they love to be loving because it's so rewarding. But because of their own fear of what happens when they accept love, they can be very resistant to being loved. Be loving, be loved. And when you cut that off, you are actually harming yourself. Okay? So I think this surgery is like the way I see it from here is this surgery is a very physical, real calendar moment in your life where you could put it this way. Okay? If you want to trivialize this, you can. You can, oh, it's just neck surgery, blah, blah, blah. Please do not. Okay? Neck surgery is very serious stuff. So the way I see it, it's important to understand this from the full picture. Life before neck surgery, life after neck surgery. Does that make sense? Life before, life after. The next surgery is the universe's way of telling you you cannot go on the way you were going. That's it. There's no judgment. There's no... I mean, you can if you want to, but you're going to create another situation just like the neck surgery again. So, to me, the way I feel it, the message is that it's understanding that you're part of the equation of pain, and it's important to be neutral. Be loving and be loved. Allow yourself to be loved. Going in for neck surgery and accepting the healing of professionals is a very loving act. It's self-love at the highest level. But you can't just say, okay, I've got my neck surgery, I'm done, now I can just go back into be a compulsive Reiki master. No, you can't do that. Oh, you had a full disc fusion in 2000. Okay? That tells me everything. Okay? I know what that is, Robin, because I had actually a discectomy. I had all those bones and discs cut out of me. I didn't have the fusion. I refused it. So anyway, Robin, it's very clear to me that you understand exactly what we're talking about here. And I think this neck surgery is a very, very loud message that it's time to change your ways, change your views, change your ways of energy management so you never repeat this situation again where you bring on damage to yourself. It's not allowed anymore. And if that means that you have to step back from the front lines of being like a Reiki master energy healer, then that's what you have to do. You can offer your services in a more measured, let's say, gentle, less of a high pressure agenda, okay? I hope that makes sense. Thank you, Robin. I hope that reading makes sense to you. Here we go. Next up is Mr. Gregory Ross. Now, he had a specific message. He sent something in the email. Oh yeah, remember about the VFW. What's going on? Let me just check this, okay? We're not going to do any more readings tonight. I don't think I have it in me. I mean, if anybody wants to, I'll do one more after Gregory, but you're going to have to put your money in the bank right now, in the slot, do the super chat or the donation, whatever. Otherwise, Gregory, let's get on with your reading. I just want to check some notes that you sent over here earlier outside of the show. Let's have a look here. I'm just checking on a couple of things. Wow. Oh, looks serious. Okay, there's a serious message here. What is indicated regarding my representing to the fullest of my abilities the veterans of foreign wars and regards to the ethics complaint filed by the mayor of Santa Fe. Oh my gosh, that is serious stuff. So, let's have a look how we're going to do this. All right, Gregory, we're coming up to your reading right now. This is about like a work situation. You're representing the VFW, Veterans of Foreign Wars, as far as I understand, in the Santa Fe community, and something was brought against them, and you're having to defend the Veterans of Foreign Wars against the mayor. That's how it sounds to me. I'm going to double check again. Give me a second. Give me a second. I want to check this. So an ethics complaint was filed by the mayor of Santa Fe against the Veterans of Foreign Wars. Wow. Whew. That sounds really nasty. Why on earth would a mayor of such a renowned city file an ethics complaint against the Veterans of Foreign Wars? Jennifer Johnson, you sent a donation to PayPal? You did? Uh-oh, Gregory, give me a second. I got to follow up on this chat from Jennifer. Hold on. Give me a second. Stay there. Actually, you're not there. I know you've got some meetings or something. You told me you've got meetings. You typed it in the chat. You're still in meetings, but you're still going to get your reading. So let me go back over here. I've got to check this. Clickety-click. Yeah, okay. Oh, Jennifer, wow, thank you so much. So generous. Hold on, let me have a look. Where are we? I got something else over here. Okay, I see it. All right, Jennifer, I got it. All righty. Okay, so give me a second, folks. I'm just doing some organizing here. All right, so we are going to have another reading. Jennifer Johnson sent in a donation. Thank you very much, Jennifer. There you go. So you got your own magic post-it note. Very, very kind. Very generous. Thank you. All right. So, Gregory, this whole thing seems very, I don't know, awkward. The mayor of Santa Fe filing an ethics complaint against the VFW. You would think there would be an attitude of gratitude. Veterans of foreign wars, you would want to show some gratitude. A lot of Americans today alive, especially the youngest generations, are completely unaware of things like World War I and World War II, especially World War II, where the United States of America was dragged into this massive war across Western Europe and China and Japan. And the Americans lost a lot of people, but we did become very dynamic, and I guess you could say in the end we were successful, and my personal belief is that World War II could not have been won for the Europeans and others without the participation of the United States. So you could say, the United States were heroes. However, things have changed a lot since World War II. That was 80 years ago. 80 years ago. There are people still alive today who lived through World War II. It was a very violent, ugly bloody war. Went on. In some ways, World War I never stopped. That was in 1914, 1918. And then there were endless wars in between then up until the big war of 1939 to 1945. And now here we are today. Ever since 1945, 1950, the United States has been involved in perpetual warfare somewhere on Earth, whether it's Vietnam, the Middle East, something, Korea, Middle East, Eastern Europe, something like that. But we're building up to a big one now with China. All right, Jennifer, so you got yours here. Gregory over here. I don't know much about the veterans of foreign wars, but it sounds like it's a noble collection of veterans from foreign wars. Veterans from foreign wars, it doesn't mean just lots of really, really old people with lots of medals sitting around in wheelchairs. There are veterans of foreign wars today, live right now, who are in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, who are cripples in wheelchairs or who are retired from the battlefront. Okay, I don't want to get too judgmental here, but it sounds like this mayor of Santa Fe is seriously lacking on the attitude of gratitude. Yeah, you could really condemn the United States in some ways for being involved in perpetual warfare. And maybe the mayor has a gripe with that, I don't know. Anyway, let's have a look. What's the message here about how you're going to have to represent these people? Okay, here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. Let's have a look at the external influences. Gravitational impact from the planets and so on. Societal impacts from Santa Fe, New Mexico, and so on. And the environment of the city. Okay, so we've got the Ten of Swords here. Okay, so to me it looks like with the Ten of Swords, you're in a situation where you have been drawn into being a representative of people who are carrying a lot of collective pain. Okay? Think of veterans, as people who made it their business to represent the United States and the interests of the United States, for better or worse. And a lot of veterans of foreign wars are suffering with a lot of pain. Things like PTSD and grievances of any kinds, injustices. So it looks to me like there's a lot of pain here, and it's coming to the surface in a way that's very, let's say, politically awkward, politically difficult. So if there is some kind of grievance between the veterans of foreign wars, VFW, Gregory, I'm just doing this from what I learned about VFW. I had to check VFW, and everywhere I looked it said veterans of foreign wars. And I know that you have a history of representing people who have been harmed by the greater society. So maybe this is a kind of situation. And so it looks to me you've got to reveal it to heal it. Okay? Over here is the 12th house of hidden enemies, the pain and the suffering. And the Mars energy is very, very active here in Virgo, basically saying, it's time we heal this stuff. It's time to clean this up. And it looks to me like this is very, very difficult energy for anybody to have to face. In other words, for the people who do need acknowledgement in order for healing to occur, it's very difficult to reveal it to heal it, because then you have to relive your old wounds. Think of the 5 huge planets retrograde. Secondly, if there's an ethics challenge from the mayor of Santa Fe against these people, that mayor must have a reason, and it's probably something to do with something personal or vindictiveness or something in a way that the mayor feels that they are on the correct side of law, no matter what the VFW says or thinks or does or feels. And then so you are stuck in the middle, Gregory, as a man of the law, as a man of justice, to bring truth, to bring honest, clear communications to the situation, where it would be extremely convenient for, let's say, dishonesty or false stories to prevail in order to benefit the mayor at the expense of the VFW. So you're in a very difficult position. That's how it looks here. And then you have to go up against, it's like you have to go up against the person who represents Santa Fe. And Santa Fe is one of the places where you live. So it's like you're going against the leadership. You're going against the establishment. What's the situation itself? Okay, it looks to me here it's like someone's got to do it no matter what. This is the Death card, number 13. The Death card is a very powerful card when it comes to healing. It's all about transformational healing. It's literally about the acceptance and willingness that we are born and then we live and then we die. A lot of people who are living like physically alive are terrified of death. And that can mean death of the ego, death of their belief system, death of their self-esteem, death of their prestige, death of their status in society. And so they will do anything and everything to resist the transformation. And yet, the transformation proceeds anyway. Because the Death card is very much ruled by Pluto. And Pluto has absolutely no concern and no mercy for any kind of individual feelings like, oh, this isn't fair. This is not fair. The energy of Pluto, deep, profound, transformational energy healing, basically does what it has to do. And the only reason that these people here are in a state of pleading and suffering and begging to be relieved from the march of truth, the march of destiny, is because they're terrified. And it's because they live in fear. Whether they were born and raised that way, even as an innocent child, or whether that's an adult who is presenting themselves as an extremely pious kind of insurmountable being who deserves to be forgiven and allowed to pass through. But no, the Death card says, excuse me, I'm sorry, you're all full of shit. I don't care if you're a poor, sweet, innocent child who was indoctrinated into a pile of bullshit, or whether you're some kind of superior popey cardinal whatever, and you think you're God Almighty. It's all a pile of bullshit. I'm going to do what has to be done. And I'm sorry for your pain, but that's your problem. That's Pluto energy, okay? The Pluto energy marches on regardless. And that's why the whole of planet Earth for a lot of times has difficulty dealing with Pluto energy. It's the very, very deepest part of the soul energy. And it has no regard for your pain or anyone else's pain in order for the energy of raw truth to proceed. So that's what's happening here. The situation is that I'm not saying this is a do or die situation. It looks to me like the situation is that someone's got to do this. And it looks like you, Mr. Gregory Ross, ends up being like having to wear the robes and be the character represented here by Pluto energy, going forward. It's like, I'm sorry, I'm doing what has to be done. I don't care if you're a mayor. I don't care if you're the son of Queen Elizabeth. I don't care if you are the son of the president. I don't care if you're the daughter of, I don't know, somebody rich and famous. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I'm going to do what has to be done. I have to do what has to be done. Sorry about that. It's nothing personal. I'm not trying to destroy you, Mr. Mayor or Mrs. Mayor or Miss Mayor, whatever. I'm just doing what has to be done. And if you can't handle it, that's your pain, that's your loss, that's your problem. Now, does that mean you're going to prevail? No. Okay, Gregory? All I'm suggesting is that you're in this situation. Either it came to you, or you came to it, or you attracted this situation to you, where you are representing those who need to be represented in a way that is, let's say, in a way that's absolute. In other words, you're not doing this for personal gain. You're not doing this to score points. You're doing it because this is what has to be done. It's the same old story of the reluctant hero. Someone's got to do this dirty work. Is there a reward? Is there any gratitude? Maybe, maybe not. Not a lot of people appreciate the death card moving through their life. But then, that's not your problem, Gregory. What's the challenges here? Okay, my first impression is the challenge is how is this going to work out financially? In other words, are you going to end up depleting yourself in order to live through this crusade? Just think about it. Okay, it's just one thing to consider. Is there a chance for you to learn more about money, reward, self-worth as a result of this crusade? You could almost think of it as a crusade. But when you take on the energy of crusade, it's almost like you put the energy of money to the side, like it doesn't really matter. Like, so long as I survive and I'm alive and I come out of it, like, in other words, it might feel like you might not get properly paid, or you might not get properly compensated to do what actually has to be done. And even if you do get compensated for doing what has to be done, let's say the VFW find a way to compensate you, is it going to be enough to justify the crusade? I don't know. But you got to keep going anyway. And it's almost like if you just turn this into a job, like a gig, let's say you're like a air conditioning technician, it's just another gig. Are you going to get paid accordingly? But no, this is above and beyond that. This is like a mission. It's almost like the money's not important. It is. The money is important, but it's also like understanding, like, wow, this might not work out. How are we going to deal with this going forward? To me, with the Three of Wands here, it feels like it's inevitable. You're going to have to do what you have to do, and you're going to have to accept the consequences, whatever that might be. To me, this looks very much like a card of destiny, in that the seeds that you plant as you go into this situation, there will be specific outcomes. and they will be measurable in your life. In other words, and will I profit? In other words, will I come out of this situation with a little bit of money in the bank? Will I come out of this situation having done too much work for too little compensation? Will I go into this situation having represented a very noble but futile cause in such a way that the mayor prevails and you end up with nothing? Whatever pathway it is, or if you go forward in such a way where you prevail in the situation and you bring justice to the court, and the mayor, let's just say the mayor is put in their place, then that too is destiny. So it's like whatever is the outcome is whatever is the outcome. It's like the seeds are already planted, but you don't know the outcome until you live through this. So the way to go forward is to me it feels like to accept that you're in this situation more like a mission that has meaning and purpose above and beyond, whether you're going to make, whether you're going to be fairly compensated out of it or not. It's like you have to do it anyway, and then you have to accept the consequences, whatever they may be. I do see this as benevolent energy, the Three of Wands, because I see the 13 here as very, very strong, very, very powerful. It might not be a pretty situation. In other words, by the time this is over, you might regret having even got involved at all. But then again, to me it feels like you have been called. You've been called upon, and now you have to deal with it. And the outcome is what it is. The outcome is what it is, and it's simply an outcome from being who you are and doing what you have to do. Of course, it's a bit of a problem. Like if you're a local citizen and then you have to go up against the mayor, by definition, you are branding yourself to be an enemy, or at least to be unpopular or unwelcome in high society of Santa Fe. If the mayor has a, country club party or something and you just happen to be uninvited, please don't be surprised. I hope this helps you, Gregory. Thank you very much for your kindness, your generosity. Jennifer, you are up. Jennifer, this is the last reading for the evening. Thank you, everybody, for being here and participating. It's been a real pleasure. I almost didn't come here tonight because I was feeling like I had to really consolidate myself and take my energy away. But then I felt that was not fair, because deep down I know I often get a lot of healing by doing this little show every week. Jennifer Johnston. Okay, I see your note here. It says, my reading question. I feel blah, like I lost my spark and purpose. You're a Cancerian with Scorpio rising. Okay. Question, will I get my mojo back, or is this as good as it gets? Aha. Okay. Before we, let me do a bit of shuffling first of all, okay? I got to take care of that. Give me a second here. I'm going to play the song called Fighting Well. This is about we've had so much stuff here to do with health and healing, and I deliberately wrote a song to boost my immune system. The song is called Fighting Well. Find it here. There it is, I got it. The lyrics are really simple in this song, by the way. The lyrics are, on the first verse is, my immune system's fighting well. That's it. So the second verse is, my T cells are fighting well. And I kind of did that as a play with words. Mighty cells. It's also the same as my T cells. Some of you know that your T cells are very, very important in your health and welfare and abilities to recover from disease and illness. So this was a declaration. It's a statement. It's a declaration to the universe that my immune system is fighting well. My T cells are fighting well. It's not, I hope my immune system is fighting. I hope my T cells. No, it's a declaration. My immune system is fighting well. My T cells are fighting well. It's a statement of fact to the universe. And guess what happens? That's what you create. If you have that much conviction. Here we go. I got it now. Okay. Hello, Sarah. Did you just show up? Hi. I think there's a couple people still here. I'm just about to set off and do a reading for Jennifer Johnson. And that'll be the end of the show. I can't do any more readings, okay? But I still really appreciate you being here, Sarah. Thank you so much. All right, let's have a look. Here we go. All right, Jennifer, thank you for being so clear and precise with us. Cheers. Now, Jennifer offered a few notes. Cancer Sun with Scorpio rising. Okay, so how about this? Let's take the astrodoodle for today, and let's put Scorpio rising on the horizon. Okay, so that's going to look like this. We'll put the axis of horizon here with the Taurus, like so. You've been lurking. You're a lurker. Okay. All right, so with a Scorpio rising, using simplified Western astrology, all these planets that are transiting right now are sitting on top of you with this kind of view. Okay? So let's go back a bit. If you were an Aries, sun or rising, we would just have the chart like this for the Earth. Okay? But for a Scorpio, this is Scorpio over here, it's the 8th house, so this would be the 1st degree, this would be the 30th degree. So we're going to put this on the horizon. And the opposite here, the opposition is with Taurus at 0 degree here. So this is the axis of polarity for Scorpios. Okay? All I'm going to do now, so you can see, the planets are here just like we did at the beginning of the show, but right now we're going to flip it to how you would feel it as a Scorpio rising. Now with the Scorpio rising, she said she has a Cancerian sun, okay? Over here. This is Cancer. So, let's do the houses. Cancer would be here in the 9th house. 10th house ruled by Leo, 11 by Virgo, 12 by Libra, 1st house by Scorpio. Okay? So, for Jennifer, her sun is up here in Cancer. Scorpio rising sign is here. So on her natal birth chart, not her solar birth chart, on her natal birth chart, the transits line up like this. So there's a lot of energy. Sorry, the pen won't stay still. I don't know why. It just keeps rolling around. Damn it, just sit. So, okay, I don't know if you can see this because all the writing's awkward angles, obviously, to see it. So the first thing I'm noticing, Jennifer, is that the nodal axis for your Scorpio rising is between the 2nd house and the 8th house. These are money houses, value systems. And with the Sagittarius now North and South node transiting here, the question is, what are you doing with all your wisdom, talents, and gifts and resources out there in society and the rest of the world in a way that makes sense? The moon is here transiting your 8th house of other people's energy, other people's resources, the Gemini transiting North Node. So that could trigger a sense of deep self-doubt, like what is my purpose, what is my meaning, why am I here, am I any use to anybody, is anybody any use to me? The next thing I want to point out here is the obviously the red aspects. The South Node here is in high conflict. Keeps slipping. Over here. This is the Virgo energy. The Sun is in Virgo right now. The Virgo energy is typically very harmonious with Scorpio, but this in itself is in a lot of conflict. So it could create a lot of questions. Also, Mars is in Virgo here in your 11th house. So this can create a lot of conflict in your sense of like, where do I belong in society? Why does everything feel like it's not right? Okay, so look over here. Okay, so Jennifer, Neptune is in Pisces, transiting your 5th house. The 5th house is the house of creativity, self-expression, happiness, joy, fun, being expressive, having the right to creative self-expression, like being like successful in business and life, being rewarded, acknowledged, and understood. It's very, very solar energy, the 5th house, Leo, okay? But Pisces is transiting that part of your life, and it's been there for years. This is a 14-year transit, okay? And you still probably have about another 3 or 4 years to go with Neptune in Pisces. I don't know the intimate details of your chart, but wherever Neptune lies, you will find tragedy, disappointment, loss, confusion, betrayal, deception. Okay? So, Jennifer, if you have been dealing with, let's say, I would call it things like confusion, mediocrity, just getting by, kidding yourself that everything's okay when it really isn't, when it comes to your, let's say, you could call it your mojo, your love life, your passion, your excitement, your spark, your purpose. All of that could very easily be expressed over here in the 5th house of creative self-expression, which is normally ruled by the Sun. But for you, in your natal chart, it's Pisces, and it's being transited by Neptune, okay? So you could feel as though it doesn't matter how much I try, no matter what I do, it's like a drain. I keep putting more in than I get out. In other words, the harder I work and the more that I do to be creatively successful and happy and loving and caring and generous and kind and to enjoy my life, the less it seems to work. Well, guess what? That would be perfectly normal with this kind of transit, because Neptune is sitting right there. And then, because this is you, it's a story about you and your life, Mars is transiting this part of your life over here in direct opposition. So Mars in Virgo is saying to you, okay, Jennifer, that's great. So it makes perfectly sense that you've lost your spark and purpose, and it might be feeling really bad right now. But Mars in Virgo is saying, excuse me, Jennifer, yeah, you can blame the planets because that's what TL does, but on the other hand, you've got to accept your responsibility in the equation. You can't get out of it. This is the house of opposition, polarities, where there's open enemies. You can't hide. And Mars in Virgo over here Mars is in Virgo over here. The Sun is in Virgo over here. Mercury was in Virgo. And it's basically saying, okay, well, Jennifer, that's great, but are you aware that you are part of the equation of your own demise? In other words, in very, very deep, subtle ways, you have actually, in some ways, been your own worst enemy. But you never saw it that way, or nobody ever called you out. And the Virgo energy over here, especially with Mars and Virgo, is basically saying, don't take this personally, please, Jennifer. Please understand that Mars and Virgo is saying, you are a participant in your own life. Whatever pain you're feeling over here, it's your pain. Yes, there's circumstantial energies and planets that could be impacting that, but ultimately the only person who could deal with it is you. So the question is, Mars and Virgo is saying, what are you going to do to clean things up? How are you going to clean up your act? What have you been doing subconsciously on autopilot where you leave a lot of trails behind you? Remember what I was talking about earlier, clean up as you go? In other words, if you are simply expecting things to work out perfectly in terms of being happy, having a great love life, romance, passion, success, business, creativity, fulfillment, being appreciated and adored and worshipped for your own awesomeness, and that's not happening, can you honestly blame the universe for everything? No. You have to understand, without any offense, Jennifer, it means that you have not been doing the cleanup as you go routine. And so now you're with all these huge retrogrades that are happening here, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, there's no option but to look in the mirror and go like, oh my God, I'm the only one who can solve this. Holy shit. Damn. Okay, I hope that makes sense. All right, let's get back. Let's just put this aside for a moment. Actually, you know what? No, I'm going to just do a little bit more here. Cancer Sun. Okay? Cancer Sun with Scorpio rising. Let's create a solar chart. We're going to do the same thing just very briefly with a solar chart. Watch this. Hello, Manpreet Kaur. Hello. Are you from India? Pakistan? Okay then. So, Jennifer, what I'm going to do is this. Watch. Do you see this? I just flipped it to the Cancer on the horizon. Okay. So the planets are just doing what they do. But now they're impacting you in a different way. Sun and Mars are in Virgo in your third house on a solar chart. And that is in heavy conflict with the nodal axis here, Sagittarius, Gemini. And so to me it feels like with the North Node here in Gemini, South Node there in Sagittarius, it feels like this is like an oh my God moment. It's just like, oh my God, TL, why didn't you tell me this stuff before? It's so obvious. I have become an expert at brainwashing myself or confusing myself or convincing myself that I'm actually right when I know damn well I'm wrong. And then when I am convinced that I am right, and that everything that's wrong that's happening to me is because of someone or something else or because of the planets, then I can be justified at pointing figures like, oh God, if it wasn't for Pluto or Saturn or Jupiter or Uranus or Neptune, I wouldn't be in this situation. Well, yeah, you could say that. But on the other hand, it's the same for everybody, so you end up with, it's not an excuse anymore. We all have to deal with it. So, anyway, I just want to leave it shortly there. Just leave it like that. Okay, another thing, just quickly. With a Cancer sun, if I put that in the first house, you've got Pluto transiting your 7th house of love and relationship. Open enemies, you can't hide. And I don't know the degree of your sun. If you're a late degree Cancer, you might be under a lot of pressure from Pluto in Capricorn. Okay? Also, like if you said you lost your mojo, that means like motivation, desire to keep going. I don't know what your Mars sign is or anything like that. But there's a lot of pressure here for Cancerians, okay, on the hard angles here, okay? 4th house, 10th house, it's very tough right now. 6th house, 12th house, it's very tough for you right now. That's health. This is career and home life. And it's all very stressed. This is stressed. This is stressed. Okay? So in other words, I'll give you a break here. It would be normal for you to feel stressed the way you're describing. So what are we going to do about this? Let's have a look. Jeepers, I didn't know how long I was talking about all that stuff. Hold on. I got to go back to the chat here. Give me a second. I want to see what Jennifer said here. I feel blah. Okay. Well, you have a lot. If you want to blame it on the planets, Jennifer, you have a lot of excuses and reasons for feeling blah, like you've lost your spark and purpose. But is that going to be the end of your life, your world, and everything? No. You're going to get your mojo back. This is not as good as it gets. This is just a chapter in life, okay? We're just literally just dealing with a chapter. Okay, now I shuffled a bit before. I'm going to keep going. All right, let's see. What kind of messages do we have here tonight for Jennifer regarding her deep concern about losing her mojo? Remember, Jennifer, this is just another day in a life. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it, and let's have a look at the environmental influences. Now, I've already talked a lot about the external influences. I think of that as the planets. Think of that as just the local weather. This too shall change, and it is, I look at it as sacred geometry. It's absolutely pure. There's nothing good about it. There's nothing bad about it. Yes, it can feel very stressful, or yes, it can feel very benevolent, but it is what it is, and it's up to you how you deal with it. I call that energy management. So we've got the Page of Cups. So this tells me, Jennifer, that you have a bit of an excuse, because to me it looks like there's a high degree of innocence going on here, where like you would never have known unless you asked. Okay? So there's no point in punishing yourself or beating yourself up for what, where, how and when things aren't working for you in life, in the world, and everything. It's just how it is. You're coming from a position of innocence. It's like you're surrounded by what amounts to benevolent energy. Like, even though all this red stuff is very scary and stressful, here and here and here and here, this and all everything, we also have the benevolent energy over here. So it's a tremendous place to learn through adversity. Again, this is just a chapter. You are guided and you are protected. Wherever this lands in your chart, you are guided and you are protected, okay? And so, to me it feels like the message here is, hey, Terra Lumination, just remind Jennifer that she's okay, and the situation is just pure innocence about how does this stuff really work. If you look at it as the healing power of love, if you look at all of this as just energy fields, gravity, perpetually changing sacred geometry, perpetual, like swirling energy, and it's always shifting. And the question is, how do you deal with it? How do you respond? Sometimes the currents are very strong this way or that way, or here, or very benevolent. It's very important to become conscious of these energy fields so that you're not a victim of this or this, and you don't just ride high on this thinking it's going to be wonderful all the time. It's really important to understand that we're permanently in a state of ebb and flow. Ebb and flow. There's really bad things happening and very good things happening simultaneously. Sometimes they're out of balance, but it's a question of how do you deal with that. So my feeling is with the Page of Cups is looking at it from the loving perspective. How am I to be loving? How am I to be loved? That is the question. How can I be most loving in order that I can be most loved? How can I understand energy management so that no matter how bad it is, I can still find a way. I can still see the light. And no matter how good it is, I don't become bloated or narcissistic or arrogant in thinking it's going to be that way all the time. No. How do I live through this and understanding my life from the purest sense? Okay, let's have a look. What's the situation? Okay, with the Four of Wands here, my first impression is that deep down what you would like to feel is that you are involved in a community or a relationship or a situation where people understand you and you understand them. For example, like, hanging around here. Like finally being with your own tribe. You put down good money to have this little mini reading, okay, Jennifer? So I think my feeling is that you showed up here for a reason. And it looks to me like one of the reasons is that you might have been feeling unconsciously, without knowing it, that you didn't really have a sense of anchor or a sense of life or meaning or purpose, because you might be on like a different wavelength from so many people in your life and your world as you know it today. And what you've been really craving is to be with people who are on your wavelength, where you can relate to them and they can relate to them, where they can relate to you, where you can embrace them and go like, oh my God, like, wow, so you people are like me, you've been dealing with all the crap that I've been dealing with? And they say, yes, Jennifer, we know all about that shit. It's miserable. It sucks. We understand. And then you would say like, so you guys understand like when I feel joy and ecstasy and when I'm really, really in the zone, it's amazing. And then these other people kind of go, yeah, Jennifer, we get it. It's the same thing. Like, it really sucks when things aren't going well. And it's really great when things are going well. And we all struggle with that too. It's okay. Be one of us. Hang out with us. We were all innocent at some point. We are all innocent at the universal level. We are always innocent up to the point where we don't know anymore, and then we keep going. So with the Four of Wands here, my feeling is that it's time for you to look at your life from a very different perspective than you've ever done before, and start to think about hanging out with people of your own kind on your wavelength. I don't know if that means like in the old days I would have said, hey Jennifer, join the Terra Lumination Patreon and pay whatever it is, $20 a month or something, and we'll have all our private group meetings and you can join the party. I don't see that. All I'm sensing is that on a broader picture, the situation is that you really want to belong, you really deserve to belong, and that there is a place where you can belong. For example, this channel, if you come here next Sunday, if God willing I'm still here, I can still do this, then you will be amongst your own kind, if that makes any sense. Okay? So that's part of how I'm seeing this. In other words, it might be like, you might not, how can I say this? Right now you might be feeling like a fish out of water. Like, what am I supposed to do? But then you all of a sudden end up in this bizarre little place, the Terra Lumination channel, and there's a handful of people who are on your wavelength, and it's almost like, oh my God, finally, I'm not insane. I'm like you, you're like me. Yay. This is so cool. Cheers. Welcome to the party, Jennifer. Now, what's the problem here? To me, it looks like letting go of the past. It feels to me like if you've got that cancer, oh my God, it's really coming so obvious now. I think you said on your notes you have a Cancer sun with Scorpio rising. So if I put Cancer on this horizon here, okay? I need to find, so it's, no offense to Cancerians, it's very, very easy for Cancerians to feel pain and self-pity and nostalgia and deep wounding about the past, all the grief about everything and anything that did not work in the past, how you have been so loving and you did everything you could to be loving and be loved, and you just end up with a situation of grief. In other words, it doesn't matter. I still end up with pain and suffering. Well, guess what? You love anyway. Okay, Jennifer, this is really